Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post. Coming from the LA Times, box office bombs, cables collapse, what went wrong for Hollywood in 2024. And we'll also check out this article from The Wrap. Entertainment and media suffers another major blow in 2024 with 15,000 job cuts just in 2024. Of course, that also means they're not doing a lot of aggressive hiring right now. We'll go over the layoffs in detail because they pretty much all had layoffs. And something that's never really happened before, production has aggressively moved away from Los Angeles. They can't produce TV shows and movies in Los Angeles anymore anywhere near the level they used to be able to because cost is everything right now. They're trying to at least break even on their projects and try to make a little bit of money, which means if you film it in California, you don't get the benefit of tax breaks that you would get in Georgia or overseas or even New York City. The Golden State knows it has a crisis on its hands. Filming activity hit dramatic lows in the Los Angeles area this year, driven by studio cost cutting amid a broader industry retrenchment and the relocation of productions to cheaper locales, including the UK and Central Europe, but even in the United States. Some executives have placed much of the blame for the downturn on the increased cost of labor due to last year's strikes, a contention union leaders have rejected. An undisputed factor has been California's inability or unwillingness to compete with tax incentives offered by other states and other countries. Political leaders in California are now trying to do something about it. Businesses that depend on the state's entertainment economy, which are a lot of businesses, are rallying behind Gavin Newsom's proposal to increase California's annual film and tax TV credit allocation from $330 million a year to $750 million. But that's not going to be enough because even if they do get that increase, it doesn't apply against star salaries. It doesn't apply for any reality shows. And they don't even have the money available. There are also a lot of other unknowns in planning production, as I've covered before. So if you have some unexpected increased cost, it's just going to multiply the cost. So they're not getting that business back. The Hollywood and media resistance has cracked. Left-leaning celebrities weren't shy about backing Vice President Kamala Harris's presidential bid. But a media and tech industry that was openly critical of President Trump's first administration is looking much more conciliatory this time around. OpenAI chief Sam Altman and Facebook owner Mark Zuckerberg contributed to Trump's inaugural fund, and Amazon reportedly did as well. And what was widely interpreted as a capitulation to the incoming administration, ABC News agreed to pay $15 million plus $1 million in legal fees directly paid by George Stephanopoulos to settle Trump's defamation case against the news organization over what appeared to be George Stephanopoulos' deliberate inaccurate statement about Trump's civil liability in a New York case. This comes amid a broader move away from politics for Hollywood and related industries. In a recent example, ABC's parent company, Walt Disney, recently acknowledged removing a transgender storyline from an upcoming animated series. Woke isn't fully dead yet in Hollywood, but the contrast with the progressive surge of the late 2010s and the early 2020s is stark. It's on its deathbed. Warner Brothers lost the NBA. David Zaslav took a lot of heat in 2024, but his biggest loss was the failure to secure a new NBA television deal when the Warner Brothers Discovery chief had a window to negotiate exclusively with the league. Instead, the NBA awarded the rights to carry its games to Walt Disney's ESPN, NBC Universal, and Amazon Prime Video in deals totaling $77 billion. That's a major financial commitment. Those guys can afford to do it. Warner Brothers needs to kind of figure out what they're going to do. They're spinning off their cable channels. They look like they have a good future if they get rid of a lot of their debt with their cable channel spinoff. They didn't need to make that kind of financial commitment. Zaslav mitigated the damage. The company secured a carriage deal for its channels with Comcast, even though it won't have pro basketball games on its TNT network starting with the 2025 and 2026 season. The company also saved some face by agreeing to license Inside the NBA to ESPN as part of a settlement of its lawsuit against the league. And cable is finally falling apart. This might have been the year the cable bundle reached the precipice that Disney's Bob Iger once talked about. Comcast Corp announced a plan to spin off its basic cable channels, other than Bravo, into a separate company. Warner Brothers said it will restructure its business in a way that seemed to signal a future breakup. This came after Warner and Paramount Global took a combined $15 billion in write-downs on their linear networks, basically admitting what was obvious: cable channels have lost significant value. Cable and satellite packages have been losing subscribers to streaming for years, but for most legacy media conglomerates, they're either too profitable or too ingrained with their other businesses to get rid of. ABC isn't as valuable without ESPN, and vice versa. The most intriguing question is what happens next to these cast-off cable channels. A lot of them will probably combine and have mergers. Fox Corp has proven there's value in the right mix of traditional media assets. Most people think the Comcast spinoff is just the beginning of a larger roll-up of media networks, whether that includes the Warner Discovery channels or Paramount's deteriorating cable brands. A spinoff is when you sell part of your company's assets, could be a whole other separate company. A roll-up is when you combine similar companies to save money by combining them. Also, to have just generally more market share, it can give you more pricing as well, so you can get better revenues in because you're more relevant, you're bigger, and you can get lower costs because you combine offices so you don't have to have the same offices doing essentially the same things. Expect a lot of roll-ups in cable. That makes a lot of sense for them. Passion projects and unwanted superheroes flopped this year. There were plenty of box office bombs this year, but few caught the attention of the industry like Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis and Kevin Costner's Horizon and American Saga Chapter 1. Both were self-financed, grand-scale movies from movie business icons who are used to betting on themselves, and that's pretty much where their similarities end. Equally remarkable were the franchise-based movies that failed spectacularly, especially the superhero movies that apparently nobody wanted. Todd Phillips' Joker 2 stumbled with just $206 million, a stunning comedown for a musical sequel to a billion-dollar Oscar-winning hit. Except that movie was not made to satisfy fans of the original movie, so why even bother doing a sequel if we're not going to give you more of what you like? And why did Warner Brothers do the movie that way? Because of Todd Phillips' relationship with Warner Brothers, not just from Joker, but also Hangover. They've made a lot of money together. They made money with Joker. Todd Phillips wanted to do it this way. Joaquin Phoenix wanted to do it this way. They let him do it that way, and they all lost a lot of money. Then there was Sony's long-suffering effort to expand its Spider-Man adjacent series of Marvel films. Venom: The Last Dance ended up doing decent business, thanks in part to international grosses. But Madam Web and Kraven the Hunter were both wipeouts. It turns out having a popular hero in a comic book movie helps. You can't just take a concept from a comic book movie. You can't just take a character and have characters that are related sort of to that character and not create the tie with the story and the audience, to have the audience understanding exactly what you're doing and not just understanding it, but being interested in it. That's important too. Netflix also broke the internet this year, but Netflix may be the leader in subscription streaming video. But its first genuine professional live sports event, the much-hyped Jake Paul vs. Mike Tyson boxing match, was a mess. First of all, the fight was just plain bad. It was also plagued with buffering and other video issues due to the number of people trying to watch it all at the same time. Netflix spun it, saying that the technical issues were the result of so many people watching. Well, yes, people understood that. 65 million households streaming concurrently and 120 million viewers tuning in, according to the company's own figures. And it's undeniably impressive how many people Netflix convinced to watch a YouTuber star punch a 58-year-old former heavyweight champ. Analysts expect Netflix to work out the technical kinks for its 2 Christmas Day NFL games. We'll see what happens. And it's certainly not backing off from its live sports ambitions, because live sports are kind of like a holy grail for all of these media companies. If you have a cable company or a streaming business, if you have live sports, there are a lot of people that will go and watch those live sports, so it does drag people to your platform. Netflix just signed a deal to stream the FIFA Women's World Cup in 2027 and 2031. And the layoffs from 2023 on have really just been brutal for Hollywood and for media. From Rap Pro, entertainment and media suffers another major blow in 2024 with 15,000 more job cuts. What's behind the multi-year downturn? Like any complex problem, there are several factors at play. Hollywood has had successive years of layoffs as companies have aimed to reach profitability in their new streaming businesses. Jobs have been shed from their declining linear businesses as the former cable giants have wound down new programming. The aftermath of the entertainment industry's brutal double strike in 2023 has underscored the difficult job market, and consolidation at companies like Paramount Global, whose share price has been rock bottom, has slimmed down the company for a proposed sale to Skydance Media. When you slim down a company, the way you do it is you let a lot of people go. Meanwhile, the news business has suffered from ongoing decline as the business model for traditional print has collapsed, with advertising fleeing to digital partners like Google, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Digital media companies from BuzzFeed to Vice have also suffered layoffs. The shifting business model has decimated local news and proved challenging for magazine and print companies like Condé Nast and Hearst. I don't even cover it here, but there's like every couple of months there's articles about Hearst, the magazine company, laying off more and more people and closing departments. There's an industry-wide expectation that more consolidation will take place in the coming years. Hollywood is also grappling with how to integrate artificial intelligence, a technology that offers real productivity benefits, but also threatens to wipe out a myriad of jobs in the process. As I've covered before, visual effects people are losing their jobs already, such as for the movie Here by Tom Hanks, which was done on a completely low budget of like $45 million, with tremendous amounts of real-time special effects done by artificial intelligence that were so fast and so good that while they were filming the movie on the set, they could look at the artificial effects of the aging process it added to see, oh, is Tom Hanks' performance right, or does he need to act like he's more of an old person? Because if he jumps up from a couch and he does it too quickly, when he's supposed to be like an elderly man, that doesn't actually work. So he could go look at how the effects worked out for the aging process and then redo it if he didn't like how he looked. You can't even do that with regular visual effects. And perhaps more inauspiciously, there are few reasons to believe next year's job market will rebound to the 2021 to 2022 levels. The new normal for the media world, unfortunately, is to brace for thousands of layoffs each year. The entertainment industry suffered thousands of job cuts this year as contraction and M&A hit companies like Paramount, Warner Brothers Discovery, and Disney the hardest. M&A is mergers and acquisitions when companies combine. Meanwhile, productions continue moving to the UK due to incentives overseas and the cost of shooting in Los Angeles. Some of the major job cuts to Hollywood this year included Amazon Studios cut hundreds of jobs in January as part of an effort to consolidate its Prime Video and MGM Studios teams in theatrical distribution. Paramount Global in February laid off about 800 staffers as part of its efforts to make Paramount Plus profitable. When around 175 Pixar animation staff, or 14% of the division's total, were laid off. Disney also laid off an estimated 300 corporate staffers in September and roughly 75 staffers across ABC News and owned stations the following month. During the summer, Disney also cut approximately 140 staffers at Disney Entertainment Television and 15 staffers across Marvel Entertainment and Marvel Studios, as the studio reassessed and reduced its slate of upcoming projects to pivot back to theatrical films and focus on quality over quantity. Also to get rid of the woke producers. And ahead of closing its deal with Skydance Media in the first half of 2025, Paramount Global embarked on a plan to reduce its US-based workforce by 15%, which is a tremendous number of people, or around 2,000 employees in August. The cuts, which aimed at generating $500 million in cost savings, impacted advertising, marketing, and communications, finance, legal, technology, and other support functions. In addition, Paramount Television Studios was closed, impacting about 20 to 30 jobs. The amazing thing about Paramount Television Studios was they announced like on a Tuesday, we're shutting this thing down this Friday. So if any of those people were like on vacation or out sick or something, by the time they made it back, those offices were shut down. As part of this consolidation and the reduction in production due to the strike, thousands of independent jobs have also been lost this year, from below-the-line dolly grips and lighting specialists to producers and directors to craftspeople. The Wrap investigated those losses in a series this year called Holding On in Hollywood. In the meantime, there were a handful of other major job cuts this year that have to be mentioned. That includes the nearly 1,000 employees who were laid off by Warner Brothers Discovery in July, with the finance division taking the brunt of the cuts, while less than 10 Max staffers were affected in total. Around the same time, CNN CEO Mark Thompson revealed that around 100 employees would be cut from the news network as part of restructuring plans as it looked to increase its focus in the digital space. CNN is also owned by Warner Bros. Discovery. Netflix also laid off around a dozen employees in April as part of a reorganization of its film division after Dan Lin replaced Scott Stuber, while Fox Entertainment laid off 30 staffers as part of a company-wide restructuring in July. Hollywood, like the news industry, will continue to wrestle with how it leverages AI in the years ahead. Filmmaker and AI regulation activist Justine Bateman, while speaking at the Wrap's The Grill conference in October, warned that using AI in film and TV threatens to burn down the entertainment business. Entire departments, not just a handful of jobs, will likely be gone forever as AI gains more of a footing in Hollywood. She's completely right. They already did it with visual effects. Quote, if you start taking out chunks and duties, maybe the whole marketing department, maybe a camera, maybe all the actors or half the actors, or the crew doesn't get their days to qualify for insurance because you're only using them for 3 weeks instead of 12, Bateman said, whatever it is, the structure will collapse. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.